Hi guys, hi and welcome to this week's Doggo Box. My name is Tammy and I'm the chiefess at Canines. For those of you who normally watch, please bear with me tonight because I am boarding two absolutely adorable Labradors this week and they're just about to have their evening walk after this, so I'm really hoping they're going to be on their best behaviour. So if the camera suddenly falls over or a Labrador comes jumping over my shoulder, it's just Jack or Coco. Guys, please say hi if you're there. Hi Eleanor, Jude, Tam, good to see you all, and Shirley's there as well. Hi Shirley. So this week I'm going to be talking to dog trainer and behaviourist Tamsin Martin, who runs Dedicated to Dogs down in Ilkley. And we're going to be talking all things puppy. And one of the things we're going to be talking about is really topical right now if you do live in Edinburgh, because we are going to be talking about fireworks. And for those of you who are local, you will know that this weekend was the start of the Fringe Festival, which is on every year, and it is absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, for people who have dogs that are scared of fireworks, there are very regular firework displays, and it can cause a lot of stress for people. And that is something we're going to be talking about. Guys, just say hi if you're there. I am just going to have a look and see if Tamsin should be able to request to join. Just bear with me. So yeah, guys, anyway, I hope you've had a really good day. And on that subject of fireworks, I don't know if you saw my post a couple of days ago on this page, but it was about a town in Italy who have actually made it a legal requirement that the only fireworks that can be set off in that town have to be soundless. So they have all the beautiful lights and all the colour, but they're silent, and I think that's amazing. I would love to tell you what the town name is, but I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong, so I do apologise if there's any Italians watching. I think it's pronounced Colecchio, but anyway, go on them. Amazing, amazing. Hi Karen. Okay, so I'm just going to try to bring Tamsin on, so just bear with me there, guys. Shirley's all comfy, ready to watch. Good stuff. Hi.
Hello, it worked. It worked.
We had a few, for those who were joining in before we were doing our little technical rehearsal, we had a couple of little issues. So
Yeah,
real... Anyway, Tamsin, hi. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Tamsin. I run and own Dedicated to Dogs. We started in 2015. So I went off and did a degree BSc in animal behaviour and welfare. Went off and did that. And then I did dog training alongside some full-time jobs. But then I got made redundant in 2015. And took the leap, set up my own business, and haven't really looked back since. So yeah, best thing ever. Yeah, really good.
Fantastic. And I've known Tamsin now for about a year. Tamsin was actually the person who gave me the little nudge to go full time and really properly set up and go with Clan Canine. So thank you, Tamsin.
Very proud of you. Very proud.
It's always going to be your fault.
Yeah,
Talk to us. So I put on the post we're going to be talking about puppy socialisation, but I think what a lot of trainers and people that work with dogs forget is that dog owners don't always understand all the technical jargon and the names that are used. So do you want to tell everyone just a little bit about what socialisation actually is, what it means?
Yeah, absolutely. So most people that come to my puppy training classes, I chat with them and I sort of say to them, right, what's socialisation? What does it mean to you? And quite a lot of people say, oh, taking puppy out, showing them everything and blah, blah, blah. And that is part of it. But the main bit is making sure that they have a positive association with it. So if you take your puppy out, for example, and take them down the park and lots of kids mob them and your puppy's really, really scared and worried and freaking out, and you continue to do that and take your puppy down there, you just end up with a puppy that's petrified of small kids. Or if they're scared of traffic and you keep exposing them to traffic and take them to really, really busy roads, then they're not all of a sudden just going to wake up one day and go, actually, it's not that bad. Chances are you're just reinforcing that fear. So yeah, that's socialization. The majority of the time they are on the right track, but we always just forget it's the positive side of things. So, which is, yeah, that's everything with our puppies, really.
Uh-huh. So what should people do if they've got their puppy and they discover that it's frightened of something, or it's maybe had a bad experience and it's got a sort of fear? How should they react? What should they do?
So first things first, stay really, really calm, be really reassuring, because your puppy is scared, it's frightened, it's not being naughty or anything like that. So the best thing to do is to add distance. So for example, if it's cars they're scared of, what I suggest is you go somewhere where there is traffic flow, but you can sit further back away from those cars, and you can pair it with something really, really good. So basically that big scary car actually equals you're going to get a bit of chicken. So once again, that association changes. Rather than, oh my God, it's a big scary truck, it starts going, oh, it's a truck, oh, but it's chicken, so I'm going to look at mum and dad. So yeah, really, really important. And also, you're only going to expose them for a short amount of time, but you should never ever force your puppy to go and interact with something. It should always be on their terms. Once again, if you force them into the situation and they're already scared of it, the chances are you're reinforcing that fear, and also you're going to ruin your relationship with your puppy, and your puppy's going to go, oh, actually, I'm not going to trust them, and I'm not going to listen to them next time. So really, really important. Let your puppy take the time. Sometimes I say, if there's two of you, go over to the big scary thing, go pat it, go have a little bit of a chat with it. And if your puppy then wants to approach, fantastic. If not, that's not a problem. Go back another day and give it another go, and judging your puppy's reaction is really, really important. So understanding body language is also super duper important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic. And so if you're sort of doing all that and it's not really making any impact, if you just think your dog is just terrified of it, would you then go and potentially, get a behaviourist, or would you just stop, exposing your dog to it, or what would you do?
Yeah.
Do you think?
So puppies are really, really moldable. So they're like little sponges, and we can change how they feel about things quite easily. But people tend to leave it too late, and then things have set in. And absolutely, you can still change your dog's emotions to things, with all your sciencey counter conditioning, desensitization, and all of that. But basically, you want to make sure that you can get them as young as possible. And if things start going off track, it's so much easier if I get called in and then it's just dead easy fix, rather than you sort of 2 years down the line, your dog's been petrified of it for this long, and it's really, really ingrained. So yeah, if you're going to get a puppy, get a decent dog trainer in from day one, because it's the puppies that I've trained from when they were 8 weeks and they've come home straight away are a million miles different from the puppies that I haven't had anything to do with until they're 6 months, 8 months down the line. So yeah, early training, super duper important.
Oh, fantastic. That's really, really good advice. So something else that you hear people talk about a lot, and I was hoping you could sort of explain to people in easier terms, is what is food guarding, and then what causes it? What's the cause of it?
Okay, so guarding is essentially your dog showing you that they don't want you to have something. So most people only realize it when their dog starts to growl at them, either when they approach something or when they try and take something off them, and they go, oh, they growled at me. But quite often there's lots of little subtle signs that we should be looking out for before that even happens. So once again, like I said, body language, super duper important. And basically why it is, there's a couple of different things. So obviously they value that item, rightly or wrongly. Some dogs, it might be a sock, and people are like, why are they guarding a sock? But for whatever reason, they've decided that sock's the best thing in the world. Quite often they might have had a history of things being taken off them repeatedly, and basically them never getting anything back. So once again, they learn, right, I've got to be really, really defensive over it. Also, there is a genetic component to guarding. So they have actually proved if the bitch or the dog has been a guarder, their puppies also can potentially have that through their genetics. Also, puppies, when they're fed when they're little and there's a big litter of them, you want to make sure all those puppies are having separate food bowls rather than them all being fed out of one bowl. So basically, it's you've got to fight for your food from day one. But the really important thing to remember is guarding is a natural behaviour. So, it's nothing, people get scared because it's like Jekyll and Hyde. They're like, oh my God, my cute, gorgeous puppy. And then all of a sudden it's, growling and baring its teeth and everything like that. But it's a total natural behaviour that we can absolutely change. But once again, from day one, as soon as you hear that first growl, you need to be getting somebody in straight away, because otherwise it's only going to snowball and you're going to end up with so many more problems. Yeah, definitely.
And I think, like, I know from another behaviourist that I interviewed a few weeks ago, actually, conversations I've had with her is like, the worst thing people can do is if the puppy or the dog is growling at them, is to scold them for doing that. That's because you're literally saying that's not acceptable. And then the only way the dog's got after that is really to bite, or to try to bite. So it's really important, as instinctive as it might be for you to be like, no, don't growl. It's really not the right thing to do. So what should people do if they've got a wee puppy and they're maybe kind of growling over some food? You obviously get a trainer, but how should they sort of react to it in that instance?
So it depends in what circumstance, where you are, if you're outside, if it's their food bowl, if it's something else. But basically how we start training with puppies is we always train them to swap things. So they learn that giving something up, they're always going to get something back, rather than if we always take, then once again the pup's going to go, oh well, you're absolutely rubbish, you always take from me, you never give me anything. So do you know what, I'm actually going to guard more. And like you said, that's when the behavior escalates. If you ever hear a growl from for a puppy or a dog, step away, back away. That's their warning signal. The only place they have to go from there is up, and that's a bite. So yeah, we definitely don't want to be pushing our dogs into that situation. Give them space, give them time. You might want to swap them with something, try and tempt them away from it, and then you can remove the item when they're not guarding it. But yeah, it is fairly complex, but definitely get a behaviourist in straight away. It's just so much easier. It tends to be that people go on the internet and read lots of stuff and go, oh, I've read this, I've read that. Yeah, don't just get a professional in, somebody that knows what they're doing, has got the right accreditations and the right knowledge behind them. Yeah, because also if you get as I'm sure you've already talked about, dog training's an unregulated industry. If you get the wrong person in, you're going to make it 10 times worse. So yeah, don't take things away from them, give to them, do food ball exercises when they're little and things like that. Yeah, definitely.
And how would you advise, sort of slightly off topic, but if somebody is sort of sitting watching this thinking, do you know what, I think I maybe need to get a trainer or a behaviourist, and it is obviously an unregulated industry, do you have any advice on how they would be best placed to maybe find someone that would potentially be good, you know, and how they can sort of sift through that and pick the right person?
Yeah. Really, really hard. I did a little video on this not that long ago, because yeah, especially if you're, you know, it's hard enough for somebody that has a bit of knowledge about dogs, let alone, you know, a first time puppy owner or something like that. So the number one thing is you want to look who they are accredited by. So what association or what body they're accredited by. You want to go on that organisation's website and you want to see what it is that they have to do to become a member. So for example, I'm a full member with the Institute of Modern Dog Trainers. So I had to go away for 2 days and sit an exam on 4 different areas to make sure I was up to scratch with my knowledge to be able to be a fully accredited member. But there are other associations out there that you just send a check in the post and they go, great, you can use our logo and you're a dog trainer. Yeah, very, very, very scary. Yeah, look at their knowledge behind them. Have they got any qualifications? So for example, like I said, I've got a degree, I've got a BSc in animal behaviour. You want to make sure they understand the science behind dog training. If they don't understand the science, they're never going to fix your dog. You've got to understand the motivators and the behaviour and what drives that behaviour. And yeah, you want to be making sure that they're regularly studying as well and things like that. If you're not quite sure, give them a call, ask them, you know, is there certain tools that they would use? If they would say to you, yeah, I never work with a dog unless it's wearing a choke chain or another particular item, yeah, run away. Yeah. So, and they should never be not wanting to tell you how they got to where they are. If they do, then yeah, once again, and if you get that feeling, if you wouldn't do it to a child, don't do it to your dog. Just don't. There's better ways now. So yeah, but like I said, I do have a little video on my page if anyone wants to have a nosy, and yeah, more than happy to help point people in different directions. There's other organisations, so the Association of Pet Dog Trainers, also really, really good association to look for. And I've got an exam with them in October. So yeah, but there
Fantastic.
are lots of places.
Maybe, I don't know how easy it'd be to do, but maybe you'd be able to put a link to your little video in the comments of this after the interview. We'll see if we can do that, or certainly a link to your Facebook page if that doesn't work, and then people can just go on and find it from there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
Cool. So let's talk about fireworks, because I don't know if you were on when I was first talking before you came on, but we're in Edinburgh, and it is the start of this weekend was the start of the Fringe, so it's like almost every night there's fireworks going on. So I think a lot of places people only have to deal with it at like sort of like bonfire night and New Year. Edinburgh, I feel so sorry for dog owners who have dogs that are afraid of fireworks, because we deal with it for a huge chunk of the year. So why are dogs afraid of fireworks in the first place? Like, what causes the fear usually?
So first of all, like you pointed out, normally fireworks don't happen on a regular occurrence. So it's a couple of times a year, maybe for a week, a couple of weeks, something like that. Um, they're really, really loud. Like some of them make me jump and scare me. And our dogs obviously have sense of hearing much stronger than ours, sense of smell. But yeah, they're pretty freaky. All of a sudden, essentially their home sort of under attack by these weird things that whiz about and make all these noises that we never hear on a day-to-day basis. So obviously, especially summer puppies that have never experienced anything, all of a sudden bonfire night comes around and wow, it's such a big shock. It's like being in a war zone essentially for our little puppies.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just loud and scary, really.
So what can people do to try and sort of stop their puppies becoming afraid of them in the first place, or to sort of sort of stop it before it gets any worse, really?
Yeah. So as much as possible, doing lots of noise work with your puppy when they're little. So you can get apps, but you can just go on YouTube and there's loads of free stuff out there. I think Dogs Trust do some free like noise desensitization clips that you can just click on. So playing those to your puppy when they're really, really small, pairing it with something positive. So, their favorite treat, chicken, anything like that. It might just be their meal times. But once again, it's actually that scary thing isn't scary. It's always paired with something really, really good. You want to start off with the sound fairly low and then gradually build it up. We don't want to be seeing a startled response from the puppies as soon as you turn it on. If that's the case, it's too loud. We need to make it a little bit lower. And then gradually build it up. But yeah, it's really, really important. It's one of those stages that a lot of people miss because they just don't know about it. But yeah, if you do that from day one, you will have a puppy that for 13 plus years just goes, oh yeah, it's those weird noises again. Right, great. And once again, if you've got an adult dog that is scared of fireworks, you can help them. But it's just a little bit more challenging. Whereas, if you do it from day one with your puppy, have it playing in the background, on the TV, if you've got Bluetooth speakers, something like that, that's really, really good. And just exposing them to the noise, but also pairing it with something good and making sure that they're not startling. That's the way to do it. And that's what I do a little section in my puppy class actually, with playing all sorts of weird noises to them. And because they're little, and they're in that stage where they're just little sponges and they're super duper confident. They're just like, oh yeah, right, it's a weird noise, and then I get fed chicken. That's great.
Chicken. So what I know we're talking about puppies, but obviously just because I'm conscious that we're in Edinburgh, is there any advice you could give people whose dogs, maybe the dog's a little bit older, but they are really scared of fireworks? What would be your advice to them?
Yep. So making sure that they've got some sort of den set up. So if your dog was crate trained or has a crate, set that up, have a blanket over the top of it. Try and have the telly on fairly loud so it drowns out as much as possible. You can look at getting your adaptil plugins and your collars and things like that. But the one thing that is a massive bugbear with me, and it's one of my pet peeves, is that you cannot reinforce fear. So if your dog is scared, you can absolutely comfort them. If they're looking for reassurance, you can give them a little cuddle and tell them everything's fine. Obviously, if they're happier on their own in their crate or whatever, leave them to it. But you hear it a lot. Don't fuss your dog because you'll reinforce the fear. You cannot reinforce fear. It's not possible. It's like if you had a small child who has a nightmare, you're not going to say, right, well, I'm going to ignore you because otherwise I'm going to reinforce that fear. So I've got to ignore them and just make sure they go back to bed. It's not going to happen. So yeah, cuddle your dogs, give them some love. Absolutely. You can also try food dispensing toys. So with my girl's a little bit noise sensitive, so I make sure that she's in a room with me, telly's up loud, the curtains are closed so she can't see anything, hopefully she can't hear quite as much, and then I give her a really hard stuff Kong, so she's working her way through that. She also has on a thunder shirt, and she also gets an adaptable collar, and yeah,
what's a thunder shirt?
Sorry?
What's a thunder shirt?
So a thunder shirt is basically a compression shirt. So they're and ahhing about how much scientific proof there is that it actually has a huge effect. But certainly with some dogs, it can really, really help. My sister's dog, certainly, if he's got his thunder shirt on before the fireworks go off, that's really, really important to go before the fireworks go off. That can help calm him. So it's a little bit like oh, what's her name?
Like swaddling a baby. It kind of sounds like that sort of idea.
Yeah, like swaddling, is that the word? You can tell my baby knowledge. But yeah, there's also, I think there's also research about people who have got autism. Is it autism? I'm totally going off track here, but the constant pressure, Karen's agreeing, swaddling, there we go, I was right with the word. That constant pressure can also help. So yeah, once again, it's another thing. They use T-touch wraps as well, so you can use a T-touch wrap, and they're dead easy to do. You can use it with like a scarf or something like that. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a thunder shirt. But yeah, as many little things you can do as possible, the better.
Yeah, brilliant. That's really good advice. I know there's a lot of people will appreciate that, certainly here at this time. So, cool, guys. If you want to ask Tamsin some questions, please get typing them up. I'm just going to ask her one more question to give you some time to type up, and then we'll come back to your questions. So, is there anything else that people can do to make their puppy like a confident, well-rounded dog? Like, is there anything else they can do at the start to help?
Yeah, definitely. So another little thing I do with my puppy classes, and we also do it for agility, is like little confidence courses. So in terms of the dog training word, it's proprioception, and it's basically just teaching your puppy that each body part moves independently, their hind end works independently of their front end, that surfaces move, and things change about, and there's different textures. So once again, if the more you do with your puppy like that, the confident they're going to be. So when they see something in the real world that's a little bit weird, rather than going, oh my god, that's really scary, they're going to go, oh yeah, I've seen loads of stuff that's weird, and it's always good. So actually, I'm not going to be scared of it, and it's going to be fine. So yeah, just walking them over different textures, things that move. So like in my puppy class, I've got a tiny little dog walk, and I've got a little seesaw, and we've got wobble boards and things like that. So once again, it's all about the puppies going to it and then wanting to interact with it, rather than going, right, come on, puppy, get on here, and it will be fun. And the puppy's going, no. And every puppy's different. That's the thing to bear in mind, that even if you've had dogs all of your life, you might get a puppy and all of a sudden it's really different to what your the puppies that you've had in the past and things like that. So yeah, the more confident you can make them, like little bomb-proof dogs, the better they're going to be. When they go out when they're older and they see something weird or hear something weird, they're just going to be like, oh yeah, great, that's fine. But also they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, it's fine because I know mum or dad's here and they've always got my back. So yeah, I don't have to be scared and worried about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, fab. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a wee flick back here. So there's a lot of swaddling talk going on. And oh, Tam's little dog is terrified of fireworks. And Shirley's, it's such a shame. It really is. Tam's saying, if they quote Caesar Milan, run. I think that is very good advice. Yep.
Yes, definitely.
And I think that's really important to say, because I think a lot of the general public, that hasn't really filtered down yet, and people still think of Caesar Milan as a dog expert, like, run screaming from any Caesar Milan chat, definitely.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Anyone that starts spouting off dominance and pack theory, run away.
Yeah. So Tam is, oh hi Jill, Jill's here. Tam, how many problems do you see in litter mates that have been homed together?
So every so often I will get people that will come to me with litter mates. it is a complex problem. There's, you know, stuff like littermate syndrome and all of that malarkey, and it's not an ideal situation. We don't really want puppies to be rehomed together. The number one problem that we find is that those puppies, because they've got a playmate, they're not bothered about you. You know, there's no reason for them to interact with you because they've got, you know, brother or sister over here. So yeah, it can be a real problem. If you have two puppies, you have twice the work. So quite a lot of people think, oh, if I get two puppies, they'll entertain one another and it'll make my life so much easier. No, because you should socialize those puppies separately. You should take them out in the car separately. You should handle them separately. They should go to the groomers and the vet separately. They should go to puppy class separately. You should walk them separately, because quite often people don't do any of that, and then something happens to one of the dogs, and can you imagine not being with that person that you've been with for every second of every hour of every day, and all of a sudden they're gone? Oh my God. So yeah, in an ideal world, we don't want puppies to be rehomed together. If there is that scenario, then we will do as much as possible to make sure those puppies are super duper independent, and they're not going to have issues in the future. But yeah, it's not an ideal situation. So if you're thinking about two puppies, just get one. Just get the one. Get the one, and if you want to get a companion for them later on, I normally say wait a couple of years, wait till that dog's an adult and they're stable and their behaviour's all sorted and you've trained them and they're beautiful and well behaved, and then get a puppy and do the whole thing all over again.
That's like the two dogs I'm boarding just now. That's exactly like them. I think Jack is 7 and Coco is 2.5. So yeah, Jack was like trained, and he was like a very well-rounded dog, and then Coco came in mad chocolate lab.
Puppies are hard work, really hard work.
Yeah, they're adorable though, aren't they? They're adorable. But yeah, I definitely think having an age gap between them is a very good idea. Karen Rhodes is asking, does handling them and touching paws, etc., help prepare them for grooming and going to the groomer?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, really, really, really important. You want to start handling from day one. Once again, building up that association. If you let me touch an area of you, I'm going to give you something super tasty. Once again, really important to watch out for body language and to understand low-level stress signs. Because once again, as we said, growling is way up that ladder. So we want to be looking, you know, for a whale eye, for yawning, for lip licking, for just walking away from you as a sign of, ooh, I'm not happy with this situation. So yeah, listening to our puppies, going back a stage, because once again, if we just force them through it all the time and ignore them, then we're never going to get anywhere. You're building up that negative association, and then you're going to have issues down the line. But yeah, and get them to the groomers really, really young. So I've got a fantastic groomer that I work alongside, and I send my puppies to her for a pre-puppy groom, which is essentially they go in, they you know, get stood on the tables, they have a little bit of a play, they hear the blower, they get put in the bath, they you know, hear the water running, they get used to everything in that environment before they go in and have a groom. Because taking them to the groomers and having a groom somewhere strange with all these sounds and sights and smells that they're never going to have been before, seen before, can be really, really daunting. And once again, if that's a negative experience, you're not setting a very good line, especially if that dog's, you know, going to have to be groomed every 6 weeks for the rest of its life. It makes the groomers much happier because they've got happy puppies, and they don't have issues, and yeah, the dogs are happy. So that's what we want. You know, a really good groomer, if you've got something that needs grooming regularly, worth their weight in gold. They really, really are.
Definitely. It's really funny actually. One of my little clan is quite scared of the groomers, and a couple of my other clients, because we have this little group, they had recommended a groomers near me who are fantastic. Christine's, if anyone's in Edinburgh, Christine's Groomers is fantastic, and she was there. They went on, was it Saturday or Sunday, and they were brilliant with her, and she loved it. And Lisa, actually, for anyone watching that normally watches, it's little Daisy, the therapist that I interviewed a few weeks ago, and Lisa sent me a little picture afterwards, and she's like, oh, and she was like looking absolutely beautiful. And it just shows the difference with a really patient, good groomer. Because Daisy, she's quite scared of groomers, and I think she was brilliant, and she had a lovely time, and it was really good experience for her. So it was
yeah, really, really good.
Here, Tam saying she's just taking on a client who's got litter mates. They were shocked when I said everything needed doing separately. Breeder hadn't warned them. Not
No, quite often the breeder goes, "Oh, I just so happen to have two, and one's going spare if you want it." And they're like, "Yeah, of course, I'll take another puppy."
good. Oh, Karen's saying it's the same for vets. Yeah, I guess if you can get your puppy into a vet's early and sort of make it a really positive experience, I think it's because it's a shame you do see. I know I grew up. I had a golden retriever when I was a little child, and she'd had a bad experience at a vet's when she was younger, and she just had this horrible negative association with it, and it was heartbreaking because I remember I'm from quite a small town, and I used to go out walking with her every night with my dad, and you couldn't even take her, we couldn't walk her down the street that the vets was on because as soon as you were like a street and a half away, you could see
Yeah,
the fear. You had to take her away, because it wasn't, obviously we're not going to force her down that street because that's a horrible thing
yeah,
to do. But the fear was that strong that, even
yeah,
being close to the vets was really traumatizing for her. So yeah, I think if you can create that positive association with a vet at a young age, it's
yeah.
going to make your life and your dog's life a lot happier and easier.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. You can also work on handling techniques. So I did a little video the other day showing my girl's chin hold. So she will put her chin on my hand, and then I can look in her ears, in her eyes, in her mouth, all that sort of thing. And she just keeps her head there because she's got that nice positive association.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, what doing stuff like that, really, really good,
Yeah.
definitely.
Fab. So people definitely need to get the link to your Facebook page on the comments here so people can go on and watch these videos because they sound brilliant. So yeah, guys, we'll put the link on and do go out and check Tamsin's page afterwards. Karen's just asked another wee question. Can young dogs get scared of things before? Oh, can young dogs get scared of things they've seen before?
I know what
Is
she
it?
means.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Karen. Yes, Karen. Absolutely. So one of my mum and dad's dog is a prime example for this. So dogs go different when they're puppies. They go through different developmental stages, and they go through two fear stages. So depending on your puppy will depend on when they go into these, and etc. etc. And it's dependent on breed. And some dogs will show it more than others. But for example, Brim, when he was in his secondary fear stage, bless him, yeah, we'd be walking down the street or be walking on the moors, and he's walked there loads of times before, and then he'd go, "Oh my God," and it'd be like a plant pot. A plant pot that he's walked past God knows how many times, but he goes, "Oh my God, there's a plant pot." So once again, with him, taking my time, going over, talking to it, telling him that it's all fine and it's all okay and it's not a problem. So yeah, that will happen. Some people will be like, all of a sudden they freaked out at a wheelie bin, and they've seen wheelie bins for all of their life. But yeah, really, really common. Once again, exactly the same principles as when they're teeny tiny puppies. Take the time, let them investigate. Distance, duration, and distraction we want to be thinking about. But yeah, they absolutely can have a freak out over, a plant pot or an A-frame or something like that, and you think, what is going on? What's happened to my dog?
Oh, that's fun. Hang on, what's Tam? When Brie was a puppy, she suddenly was petrified of a motor scooter. It was stationary with no one on it, but suddenly it was the scariest thing in the world. That's such a wee shame, isn't it? It's
Yeah, yeah, really, really common. Things that are there one day and not there the next. So, like your wheelie bins when they go out, that's a really, really common one. So yeah, quite often you see me going up and patting wheelie bins and talking to puppies. So yeah, I'm that weird lady.
I would love to see that. Hi, Willy Ben. But it works, doesn't it? That's it. That's what the puppies need to see. So, yeah, fab. Could it also be a scent thing? I don't know if that's the. I don't know if you're talking about the fear of something that wasn't there before. Would it be smell?
Potentially, if it's a strange smell or it's something particularly strong, yeah, that could have a bearing on it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, fab. Karen saying thank you very much, ladies. Really informative. I think we've got through all the questions. I don't think we've missed any. Apologies if we have. I think we've done them all. But thank you so much, Tamsin. I really appreciate it. It's been really, really interesting. Guys, let's see some hearts and some thumbs for Tamsin, please. But yeah, really, really great advice there for people with puppies or thinking about getting puppies. So we're definitely going to get a link to your page there for people to check it out. And thank you very much indeed.
Absolute pleasure. I've loved it. I can talk dogs all day long.
I know. I'm the same. I can bore people. Like you just see them
Yeah.
glazing over.
Yeah.
Oh, Tamsin, thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon.
Fun. I'll see you later, Tammie. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.